What's up YouTube, this is Twinkie the Trapinch bringing you a guide on how to use Salazzle competitively. Salazzle's a Pokemon that was just released with Pokemon Sun and Moon, and it has the unique Fire Poison type, which I am super excited about because this is something that Pokemon fans have been wanting for generations at this point. This typing is super useful because it gives you a quad resistance to Fairy type moves, which are one of the most dominant typings in the competitive scene right now, and it also gives you some nifty resistances to fire, grass, ice, fighting, poison, bug, and steel. The most notable thing about Salazzle, however, is its unique ability Corrosion, which allows you to poison any type of Pokemon regardless of its type. Previously to Pokemon Sun and Moon, poison types and steel types were completely immune to poison status, and there was nothing you could do about it. But if you use Salazzle, you can use Toxic and affect a poison type or a steel type with the poison status, which is super nice. Originally, when this Pokemon was first announced, I thought this ability was going to be kind of useless and redundant because it's a fire type Pokemon. It already has access to Will-O-Wisp. But this generation, burn status actually got a nerf. So instead of doing 1/8 damage to your HP per turn, it does 1/16. So with Toxic, you're going to be doing more damage over time than you would with burn. So this becomes very useful. The only thing is, burn does have the added benefit of cutting your opponent's attack stat in half, so you kind of have to pick and choose which status you want to run. But overall, I think Toxic probably works a lot better with this Pokemon, because you can hit all these bulky Pokemon, like Heatran has the ability Flash Fire, so you can't burn it at all. So if you throw in a Salazzle against a Heatran, you can get a Toxic off and cut down some of its bulk because it is not prepared for any status at all. It's such a slow Pokemon that it's really unaffected by Paralyze. Sleep, while very useful, is kind of rare just because of the moves that affect you with the sleep status, so you're not going to be seeing Sleep that often. But if just the fact that you can poison a Heatran is game changing, and it's not just exclusive to Heatran. You can hit some of the new Ultra Beasts like Celesteela, you can hit Skarmory with poison, you can hit Tentacruel and Toxapex. It's just an insane ability, I think. Now that we've gone over Salazzle's typing and ability, we can go over its stats. Salazzle has a base 68 HP, 64 attack, 60 defense, 111 special attack, 60 special defense, and 117 speed for a base stat total of 480. So looking at the stats, you can tell Salazzle's a glass cannon. You're not meant to tank hits from anything. But the really cool thing is that since you 4 times resist both grass and fairy types, you can actually switch into grass and fairy type attacks pretty safely from my experience. Just as a rule of thumb in Pokemon, anything with over 110 in any stat is really good in that stat. So the fact that Salazzle has 111 in special attack and 117 in its speed is really nice. The really cool thing is that Salazzle's probably, I think, one of the top 3 fastest Pokemon that came out this generation, because everything is just so abysmally slow. So having the 117 speed is really nice. While Salazzle has a great typing and some awesome stats, it kind of suffers from a shallow move pool. As an offensive Pokemon, you want to have a lot of different type moves so you have a good amount of coverage, but Salazzle really only has its stab moves as powerful attacks. You have your Fire Stab and Flamethrower, Fire Blast, and Overheat, and you have your Poison Stab and Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave, but outside of that, it's kind of it. Those are really the only powerful moves you have. You do get Dragon Pulse, but the usefulness of that's kind of limited because it only hits Dragon type super effectively. You do have a couple physical attacks like Leech Life and Dragon Claw, but your physical attack is so bad it doesn't even matter. You're not going to want to use those at all. While you don't get the best coverage with Salazzle, you do have a good pool of support moves, which is really nice, and I think that's the niche Salazzle's going to be able to carve out for itself this generation, because you do have the Corrosion ability, and that's really nice in passing around the poison status. You do get, obviously, Toxic to pass down the badly poison status, Will-O-Wisp to pass around burns, you get Encore, which forces your opponent to use the same move it used last turn once again, which can be really useful. You get Disable, which obviously disables your opponent from using the last move it used. And finally, you get Substitute, which I think is going to be really nice on this Pokemon. Salazzle also has access to Nasty Plot, which boosts your special attack by 2 stages, which I think is going to be really nice because Salazzle could become a nasty late game sweeper if you have the chance to set up.
Now that we've gone over all the technical stuff, we can get into the movesets for Salazzle. So typically the moveset I personally run on Salazzle would be this set. Basically you just have your dual stabs, you have Sludge Wave and Flamethrower. I personally like these because they both have 100% accuracy, but if you want, there are the other options. Toxic for throwing around status, and then the third move slot is up to you. If you have the patience, you can breed Hidden Power onto this Pokemon. The best ones to have for this are Hidden Power Ground, so you can get a super effective 4x damage move on Heatran, which is super nice because you're gonna... I honestly think this thing's gonna be a huge Heatran counter. You have Hidden Power Fighting to hit Tyranitar for 4x damage, and you can also run Hidden Power Ice to hit Garchomp for 4x damage. And those are 4 of the bulkiest yet offensive mon that you're going to want to be able to counter with this Pokemon. But if you don't have the patience to breed Hidden Power onto this, or you're not using Pokemon Showdown to battle, you can also run Dragon Pulse for your extra damage against Garchomp. And then these are some other options you can run. You can run Knock Off just for the coverage of being able to knock your opponent's item off, which can come in super clutch in some situations. And then you also have the other options for your Fire Stab, and if you want to run Sludge Bomb instead of Sludge Wave, you also have that option. As for your EVs, you're going to want to throw 4 into HP, 252 into Special Attack, and 252 into your Speed with a Timid Nature. You're always going to want to run a Timid Nature on this Pokemon because it is fast, but not super duper fast, because you're still outsped by Pokemon like Greninja and base 120 Pokemon, which are decently common. So you're always going to want to run the Speed Enhancing Nature, because speed is just very important on offensive Pokemon. Unless you have something to make up for it, like a Choice Scarf, you're going to want to run the Speed Nature. So Timid's your best bet here. I honestly didn't think Salazzle would be that great for a choice set because your coverage isn't there. You don't have the coverage to be able to switch in with something that can hit everything super effectively. So I think your best bet is definitely the Life Orb for your item because it does do the little 10% recoil damage, but you still have the ability to switch your moves, which is very important on Salazzle. This next moveset I came up with was for the Nasty Plot. So basically, you switch in Nasty Plot, try to switch in on an opponent who just used some sort of status move or boosting move or something that they can't attack you with. So you want to switch in, use Encore, and lock them into that move, and then that'll basically force them out, so they'll have to waste a turn switching their Pokemon out. So you use Nasty Plot to boost your special attack, and then you just proceed to sweep with Fire Blast and Sludge Wave. I wouldn't really recommend Flamethrower here, but if you really are concerned about that accuracy, by all means run with Flamethrower. But I think Fire Blast and Sludge Wave are the best bet here because they do offer the most damage while not sacrificing too much accuracy. Overheat is... I don't really like running Overheat because it does have that special attack drop as recoil, which sucks. And right after the boost, that's gonna hurt a lot. This final set I have is a substitute set, and this one you do have a lot of wiggle room to work with. You can run Substitute, Toxic, and then the last 2 move slots are a little ambiguous. Obviously you're going to want to run Sub to hide behind, and then Toxic so you can Toxic stall your opponent. The last 2 move slots, I was thinking you could run Venoshock as your poison type stab, and you could also run Fire Blast or Flamethrower. Venoshock is really nice because once you get the Toxic, the damage is going to double, which is very cool, I think. But it's also a little gimmicky, so if the opponent already has status, you're going to be shit out of luck. I was also thinking if you don't want to run both of the stabs, you could run Disable. Disable's a really nice move to pair with Substitute because most of the time you're going to be outspeeding your opponent, so you set up the Substitute. and your opponent is going to use the move that will do the most damage to you to knock out that substitute. So the next turn, you can use Disable, and it will disable the move that would have done the most damage against you. So you can set up another substitute, and then that'll basically give you free reign to... They'll probably switch out, or they'll have to use a less damaging move, and then you can just Toxic them and sweep from behind the substitute, which is really nice. But if you don't want to run Disable, you can I think it's definitely a good idea to run the two most damaging moves. So if you're going to hide behind the sub, definitely run Fire Blast and Venoshock if you're going to be running the Toxic. If you're not running Toxic or you don't want to rely on it, I think Sludge Wave is definitely your best option. And for this set as well, you want to run the same EV spread because it's not really bulky enough to abuse its HP or defenses. So 4 into HP, 252 into special attack, and 252 into speed. Speed is going to let you outspeed everything and get your sub up first. Special attack is going to allow you to hit hard.
And that is about it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, or comment. If you think I fucked up the moveset completely and you have a better idea, leave it in the comments. Let me know. It's early in this generation. The meta still has to develop, so there are a lot of different things that we could be overlooking with these Pokemon. So discuss and stuff. Also, local music is a thing that's very important to me. So for all the new videos I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be leaving a friend's band, and I'm gonna play their music in the background. I'm gonna leave a link to their Bandcamp up in the top corner, and their music is usually free, so you should definitely check it out. And yeah, down here's the next video I'm gonna be making, and here's an old video I think you might like. It's a very fun battle, and yeah.